this thought that popped into my head. All right, I'll just read it verbatim, what I have written here, and then see what you guys think. Spirituality slash spiritual moments in life slash events. So this is like, let me just read stuff that's amazing. Like something happened, something's there. You get that sense, right? Like whether this is an aura manifested by shared awareness of the moment, pushing events a certain way, right? Like everybody's here and everybody understands the context and the magnitude of event, and somehow that creates this like pressure in the air because everyone's on the same page, but it's like you can feel that. And I'll get to some examples in a second. Or supernatural type forces creating those circumstances and guiding fate, right? So like and moments I have in my head. I was thinking about this because I was watching football, right? And this thought, that game, that Monday Night Football game, the night after Brett Favre's dad died, and that motherfucker comes out, right? And it's just in the air. And you even watching the replays of this. I don't know if you guys have watched this at all or remember this or remember the stories about it, but there's just electricity, dude. Even watching the replay of this game. Which I have on YouTube, like lots of clips and stuff. There's just this electricity. Brett Favre comes out, throws for 311, 2-0 in the first half of this fucking game, dude. 311 yards and 2 touchdowns, and just comes out there the night after his dad died. Everyone's like, is he going to play? He's like, my daddy'd want me to play. And he just comes out there, and the air is just fucking electric, and it goes down in NFL lore as just this time this guy just came out. Another example.
Goosebumps right now. I got goosebumps right now.
Even just thinking about this, right? Or just this season when Damar Hamlin had the heart attack on the field, right? The Bills come out the next day. Damar Hamlin was real close at the special teams. I mean, that's where he saw most of his action. He was just starting to get some time, like, really in the defense, as I'm pretty sure is how it was, but he was really making his biggest impact on Bills special teams. Damar Hamlin has a heart attack. The next week, the Bills come out without Damar Hamlin, but he's there in the stadium with them. They return the opening kickoff for a touchdown. And just the stadium's just like, blah, and the announcers are like, oh my God, it's fucking whatever. This is a miracle. Tony Romo's like, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just electric, just one of those things. And my question for you guys, what do you think about those kind of things? What are some experiences you might have had with them? Or do you understand that experience of what I'm talking about? And do you think, I'm like, what? It depends on the general frame that you're looking at this in, but I'm like, do you think is it more amazing if either of these are true? If that kind of thing is happening because everyone's just tuned into this reality here, like everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's there. They're like, dude, Brett Favre's dad just died. There he is. He's out here playing. He's what holy shit. And everyone in the stadium has a shared awareness. So it just creates this tension in the air that everyone has experienced. You feel that. Or is there like a third party supernatural force? And I'm not talking about like angels or anything like that or ghosts or whatever, but I'm just maybe kind of like in the good and evil template we were talking about, that you were talking about, Chase. Like, is there a third party force that is coming in and enshrouding that space and time of this event happening and creating that masterpiece of experience that gets remembered and talked about? And then, so you take that small little thing and you think about the oral legends that have been passed down from cultures for thousands of years. Those are the same kind of moments people are talking about.
I'll just go with the 300 Spartans. I mean, asking literally, that story happened. That's a true story, right? The 300, and like,
so
or is it a folk's tale?
I absolutely love that you asked that question too, because I think about this every now and again and how I want to pontificate on it with people that don't know this, so or might not have thought about it this way. I was like it was like a year ago or something, where I heard somebody talking about this on a YouTube channel. I don't remember what YouTube channel it was, but they like to pick apart movies, and they were talking about how the Battle of the last 300 at Thermopylae was a Greek legend, was a Spartan legend, and it did happen. Like, historically it did happen, but the way it happened and is portrayed in the 300 movie, a lot of people are like, oh, this is bullshit, it's not historically accurate. Like, the immortals and like all the crazy, like the elephants and the mutant guy, the big giant guys and all this shit. It's like the Persian army didn't look like that. They looked like a normal, like basic Braveheart type army, right? You know what I mean? But the thing is that movie is framed as a Spartan legend. They're telling the Spartan legend as the Spartans would have been telling the rest of the army about the brave 300 and King Leonidas who died. So they're not going to be like, yeah, we fought like a regular army and there's just a shit ton of them and so our guys died. It's like, no, King Leonidas stood there against the immortals. They were immortal no more. You're like, you know, like shit like that. And that's why that movie is like that. And that shit blew my fucking mind. Is like, that's why the movie is so crazy and over the top, is because it's literally being told by the guy with one eye that made it back there and is trying to motivate the armies. So that was my pontification on that.
Yeah. That's interesting too. Me and Joe were talking about that. Joe and I were talking about that at the bar when you came down last time. We were looking up the armies, and yeah, like you said, it's like a traditional, like like it's not anything crazy. But how that I was going to tie that in though is that electric feeling, right? You get that like from a speech, or like even when you're just saying about the Green Bay Packers stuff. I don't know how to answer your question other than to say that there is definitely something going on, and it's that electric feeling. Like even when a breakdown hits in a song, it gives you goosebumps. It's like, or a sick line in a rap song or whatever, and you're like, ooh, it transfers you to that moment for a second, and you can just feel that. And it's with that Brett Favre thing. I really want to watch that now because that's insane. Kind of reminds me of like Friday Night Lights too, that movie.
Yeah.
Everyone wants you to make that touchdown. Everyone's thinking it. And, when you go out and do it in an epic fashion, I mean, it's like how much of that can you chalk up as just whatever, and how much of it is like destiny? Don't know how to answer it, but super interesting.
Hell yeah.
I definitely think there's something to the fact that what you pay attention to matters. And when a bunch of people are paying attention to the same thing, like you can just feel that. Like I don't know exactly the reason why, you know what I mean? It's kind of this thing that's just floating out there, whatever. But I believe that we're all connected, like psychically can like affect each other and shit, you know what I mean? And like I said it last time, we're all like antennas getting like this fucking thing. You get a bunch of us together, focus us all in the same direction, you get like a stronger signal, you know what I mean? Type of deal. I don't know, like you're focusing energy in a smaller point, you know what I mean? Type of deal. I don't know.
Yeah, well, and I would say in my my dichotomy that I set up there, I think it's more amazing and more awe-inspiring if the situation is that people are just tuned in to the context of the moment. Like because you think about, and Jordan Peterson talks about this in his lectures in a more bland context, but everybody is at that stadium for a reason. So you already have shared context there. Like that's already sort of a community, like you formed it because everyone's there for a purpose. And now there's added context up to this point that there's a story that the star player on this team, his dad just died and he's playing this game. And there's just this awareness, and it creates, for lack of a better way to say this, because we all feel those moments, even in a room full of people when you're having a good time and then somebody comes in and acts a certain way or something, and everyone has heard people say, like, dude, read the room, because there's that sense. And in these huge moments, it's like that aura, that field is just like you said, dude, like concentrated and pulsing, you know what I mean? Just like an energy buildup of that tension. And those are the moments where like history is made, you know what I mean? And legends are born, and there's just that, but I think again, I think that originates like from people. I think that that's more inspiring and awesome.